Sega Genesis, known as the Megadrive in regions outside of North America. It's a 16-bit console, and it's Sega's best-selling console ever. It was a massive success, and it was revolutionary. And I mean, no wonder. Just look at the thing. It's like the girl of your dreams, except more radical. It's really a true masterpiece. It's got this beautiful, beautiful switches here. You got the volume knob, goes all the way up to 10, but that's just for the headphone port on the bottom. Just kind of outdated now. Please focus camera. You got your on and off switch. It's kind of backwards the way that you normally see it. On would be here and off would be here usually, but this is on and this is off. And your reset button is puny and stupid. And I really do hate this reset button. This is one of the worst things about this system. I hate it with a passion. The Sega Genesis logo is just classic. It's got this really nice cartridge port too. Perfect for fitting the games in. As you can see right there, there's a tab right there, and I think that's supposed to prevent the North American Sega Genesis from running Japanese cartridges. But I'm not exactly sure, because, well, you'll see in a minute, I'm not really the Sega tech wizard around here. You'll see that around back here, we've got a channel 3 and channel 4 switch that, oh wow, it's really buried deep in there. I didn't even know that, because I've never used it. I don't need it, because I don't have an RF adapter. I'm using the AV out. I don't think that it's as good. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's what I'm using, because I kind of got it for free with my off-brand power adapter for this thing. And then we got our AV out. You know, just standard. Should note that the NES, I think it's got the same exact plug, but it is not compatible with the Sega Genesis. Do not plug your Nintendo power adapter into your Sega Genesis. It'll probably explode, because the Nintendo uses, I think it uses like DC or AC, I forget. But it's something that just nothing uses, and it always converts in the power adapter, but the Nintendo uses that, and it converts it inside the system so that it works properly, you know? But obviously the Sega Genesis can't do that. So don't plug your Nintendo power adapter thingy into the Sega Genesis, and don't do vice versa either. I really wouldn't recommend that. This is the case that the Sega Genesis games came in, usually. Sometimes they were cardboard and they had this, like handle thing on the top for hanging in stores. Whoops, that fell over. Mine is kind of beat up. This one at least, you know, it's beat up to say the least, you know. It's not perfect, but I just wanted the game. Open it up. They're really tough to open. Hold on. Okay. Ooh, almost ripped that. There's the game right here. We'll just pull that out. This is the cartridge. As you probably imagined, it's pretty standard. It's got the Sega seal of quality. Sega, made in Taiwan. Wait, let's just wait for the camera to focus. Stupid thing won't focus. There we go. As you can see, it's got the caution label and stuff. Just a bunch of dumb stuff that nobody cares about. Don't put your cartridge in water or it won't work. Yeah, doesn't take a genius to figure that one out. So, now's where we run into some problems. As I mentioned before, I'm not exactly the Sega Genesis expert. It's a great console, yep, but I got this thing like less than a year ago. I got it in March, actually. And, you know, I've loved it so far. It's so much fun. But I only have one game, and that's the game that I just showed you. Basically, what I've showed you is all I have. I have the AV out cable and the power adapter, and I also have an off-brand controller, so I can't even review the controller. I'm sorry. I do not have a lot of stuff for this thing, but I'm gonna try my best to review it. So, let's see how it goes. So, I'm just gonna plug this in right here next to my GameCube. One thing that I really like about this thing is that it's just so simplistic to plug in. You've got your AV and your whatever this is. It's your AC adapter. Plug that right in. And that's all you have to do. Of course, then I have to plug in my crappy controller. As you can see here, I don't have the best controller. I have a refurbished Winter controller, refurbished by moi, because the C button wasn't working properly, but it's just so cheap. It's just a hunk of plastic. I can't actually review the Sega Genesis controller because I only have this one, but this is all I need really. I don't play this every day. And maybe I'll ask for controller for Christmas or something. I don't know. Let's play some games. What a classic. So this is the only game I have, sadly. So, what I really like about this system is just the games that it has on it. It's got, obviously, Sonic 2. It's an absolute system seller. But then you got, all the other Sonic games. You got Puyo Puyo 2, if you're in Japan. But then they do sell import games. So, import off-brand games, which are also pretty good. And you got like Comic Zone and what else? Alex Kidd and Enchanted Castle, and like some really good games that are worth buying this thing for. And it's not necessarily cheap anymore, but it's not expensive, So, what I bought the system separate from everything else, and you will not believe the price I got the system for. That system, I got that for $12. And yeah, it was a bargain. I won an auction. And then I bought the cables separately. I bought the cables and the AC adapter for $10, which is almost as much as the system. I find that funny. And I bought the controller for $7, which was pretty cheap. So in total, that is $29. So, expensive. Oh, and the game was $4, which, yes, Sonic 2 is one of the cheapest games you can buy. So that's $33 for all the stuff that I have, which is a bare minimum. But is it worth it? Well, I reviewed the last system and said, yeah, it's great, but you know how much of that? And I got that thing for free. I forgot to mention that. No, probably I did, but I forgot to mention, that thing's $56 in incomplete box with everything. And I got it for free, so, steal with that. But, like, man, $56 for a Pong console, that's expensive. And, like, that's not worth buying, in my opinion. Some people it is, which I get that. But it's just, it's not worth buying that. For this, you've got so many games. You don't just have blocks moving on a screen, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun, especially when you buy 2 controllers. I say the multiplayer for this system is really well supported. There were even games with 4 players, with 4-player options, which is crazy because, I mean, really? Are you really gonna manage to get 4 players together with 4 controllers? All want to play this one same game, but like, you know, cool, I guess. The NES had it, so it's like Genesis had to do it. But then you got some real interesting add-ons. First one was Sega 32X. No, it wasn't. The first one was Sega CD. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Sega 32X. It's not really worth buying, as you probably imagined. It's kind of just so boring. The games that are on it are not worth playing. Knuckles Chaotix is good. And then that's about it. You got Star Wars, it's an obvious Star Fox ripoff. No, I don't mean like... Oh, wow, I actually failed that statement. No, I don't mean like the brand is an obvious ripoff of Star Fox. I mean that the game, all the gameplay is basically the same, and it uses the same polygonal graphics. It's just using an already existing brand. So yeah, that's what I mean by it's a ripoff of Star Fox. But you know, everybody ripped off that game for some reason. You had Namco making Star Blade. That's an obvious ripoff of the game. It's almost completely the same game. But I'm sidetracking. Sega 32X just didn't have enough good games to be a good add-on. But then you go on to the Sega CD, and then it's like, what could I get this for? It's Sonic CD. It is really good. A really good game. The problem with it is it's so hard to find a Model 1 Sega Genesis, a Model 1 Sega CD, because they probably already have broken by now, or they're sitting and rotting away in somebody's basement. But, or the tape drive broke and they threw it away. So it's really hard to find one that actually works, and usually they demand very high prices for it. But then you got the alternate option of the Model 2, but obviously, I think that only works with the Model 2, and if it doesn't, I think that you have to find this, like, piece of plastic that you ram in there. That's like an extra $25 or something. That's kind of lame. But definitely, if you want to play Sega CD, then you probably want to get a Model 2. Model 2 is probably better than Model 1 anyway. Just buy a Model 2. They're later in Sega Gen life because reasons. Don't buy a Model 3 though. They're kind of lame. They don't even work with certain games, which is dumb. It could have been so much better than it actually was. I don't recommend buying a Model 3 for that reason. It's kind of just cheap. What else? Oh yeah, and, you know, I mean, some people might say, oh, it's not worth just buying a Sega CD for Sonic CD. You could just emulate it, but then there's like, systems like, on Re-Res, I forgot what what system it was, but it was like a CD player that could play games, or no, it was a DVD player that played games, and it was from ex-Atari people, you know? People got fired from Atari, and... Oh my god, I'm not paying attention to this game at all. But they said that none of the games on it were worth it at all, except for one, which was Tempest 3000. And they said that you could actually probably buy this thing for that one sole game, and it'd be so much fun, you know? So apparently Tempest 3000 was the system seller, you know? Obviously the thing failed because it had like 2 games or something, you know? But it's pretty good, you know? Like, Sonic CD is a masterful game. It's not perfect. No game's perfect, but it's got a really great soundtrack. It's flowing. It's got great mechanics. I can't believe I didn't die sooner. Yeah, it's such a good game, and it's worth buying a Sega CD for that. I haven't been able to track down a cheap Sega CD, but I will eventually, and I'll have it. And my Sega Genesis will look like it's on life support, because it basically will be. But yeah, if I was to review this thing, I'd say buy it. I mean, or at least experience it at a friend's house. It's a great system, and it's just so worth it, you know? It's really good. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.